Hey y'all, it's Olivia Carr. This is for the discussion board in module 2. My stuff is on my computer over here, that's why I keep looking over here. So the first part of the required question, how will you work grades in the grading process into your future classroom? So I said basically like everything that I'm gonna hand out, like I'm not gonna grade like every single one of it because that puts a lot of stress on me, and it's just like I feel like it's a little bit unnecessary. Some of it would be considered as participation, so I would be able to kind of see like how they're grasping the information that I'm teaching them. And it's not fair that if they're not grasping it at all, that it's going into their grade book, affecting their grade. Because it could be completely on me that I'm not teaching it a good way for them to be able to understand, and that's on me. So I can help like reevaluate like how I'm teaching the lesson to them. And basically the only other thing that I said was like I would keep my grading process simple. So like if I were to give a 10-question quiz, I would just make it like 10 points apiece, on a 100-point grading scale. Just because if I had to like do it in a time crunch, especially for an entire class or multiple classes, it would just make it a little bit easier and like faster for me to be able to do it. So for the second part, how will you keep students informed of their progress during the grading term? My teacher did this. At the beginning of the semester, he would give us all a nickname. Mine was Cyclops, for an example. And he would use that. So whenever we would, have a test, he would have, like, on a little piece of paper with everyone else's nicknames on it, like, what our test grade was, and then beside it, what our grade in our class was. And that was just really helpful because you would be able to see, like, how that test grade affected your overall grade. Something similar to that would be like, just handing out little slips of paper to the students that had their nickname and their grade in the class or whatever, you wanted to put on there. It's just easier for them. It's, easier for them to see. And you don't have to really do any explaining to the front of the class. They just see it and then that's it. The third part, how will achievement be monitored and recorded in the grading period? So I said through tests, quizzes, and bell ringers. Obviously tests, I would give them at the end of the lesson after they've been able to, learn everything in the lesson, study, practice, ask any questions to see how they did, how they understood it, and I could see how they're progressing in the class. I said quizzes, I wouldn't give them out often. I would just give them out every once in a while. So, say, they just want a new math equation, to see how they're understanding each part of it and, seeing if they're being able to grasp it, and that can help me, direct how I'm going to teach everything, because I'm seeing that they're not understanding that equation at all. I might spend a little bit more time than usual on it. And kind of the same thing for bell ringers, if, it's not immediately after they learn it, so if they still aren't able to grasp it whenever they're trying to do a bell ringer, then I can base my plans for the week, to go back over it, do whatever I need to, whatever I feel is best for my students to be able to understand it a lot more. So the fourth part, how will effort and knowledge be weighed in your grading? So I said, we'll grade a lot of stuff as like participation, such as the bell ringers and the homework, because if they're not able to understand it, like I said earlier, it might be me, not them. So it's not fair if they're literally not able to understand it at all. Like if they're trying to do homework, that it goes into their grade book. So for the homework, like I said, if they were learning a new equation and for all the questions, they got them all wrong, but they were just messing up that last part of the equation. They're understanding the concept, they're understanding the process, they're just missing that last little part. So just grading that as participation, I can see that they're trying to do it, and they're understanding it, they're getting that most of it right. I just need to focus a little bit more on the ending. That'll help me, like I said, understand what they need more in the class, what I can focus more or less on. And the last part, how does good or bad behavior affect grading? Kind of took two understandings of this. I don't know if either one is right or one of them is right or both of them is right. But I kind of the first thing I thought of was I understood it as like, if you act bad, like, I'm going to give you a lower test score, and that's obviously never going to happen. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. But then I kind of thought about it more, and so if it's, what I came to the conclusion is that, you know, if you're acting bad in the class, if you're acting up, you know, if you're having to be sent out, or like held back from something for whatever reason, it's like stunning your ability to understand like what's going on in the class, like what we're learning, especially, you know, if you're going out of the class, if you're in trouble. And that leads to, since you're missing part of the lesson, getting lower grades on the test, and then getting lower grades in the overall class. So I hope that's right. That's how I understood it. And so for the optional, or for the other question, I picked the second one. The last three items in this in the cognitive taxonomy: analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, are often called higher order thinking skills. Why are they considered higher order, and what general characteristics do they exhibit? So I said they're considered the higher order thinking skills because you have to be able to use like the previous knowledge that you have and link the previous knowledge with the new knowledge that you just learned. And like, you know, form new ideas, and you have to be able to like build upon the other levels of in the taxonomy. So like knowledge and knowledge and, you know, evaluation and all that stuff. And it requires like critical thinking skills, and it leads to like more complex ideas and judgments as you're learning. So I said basically analysis, like general characteristics, is being able to work backwards and be able to come to conclusions. You know, take the complex ideas and be able to break it down in smaller, different parts. An example of this, well, I read that on like it's page 78. There's like a little box that has, you know, something similar to that up there. And the example of this would be like to listen to a speech and then be able to like point out what the speaker's beliefs are and how they're trying to like persuade the audience to believe the same things as them. So for synthesis, I said in the book it says that it's easiest to recognize because it deals with creativity. So like the first one, you know, you're taking previous knowledge, and you're taking previous knowledge and you're thinking of a new way to be able to understand it better. So like you're creating a pattern. You're just creating a pattern, and it's like just a new way, a new level to think about the same knowledge that you had before that might help you understand it more. And then finally, evaluation is being able to make decisions on topics and being able to like argue for them logically. First, they have to be able to understand like what their morals and their beliefs are, and then they have to be able to take like new knowledge that they have and be able to like express like how it corresponds to their morals or their belief, and then whether or not it does correspond and like why it doesn't. So that's basically what I got for that question. I look forward to hearing y'all's responses and y'all's thoughts on what I said. Y'all have a good day.